welcome to the Phil Mathers show. I'm your host, Philip Mathers. Hope everybody is doing good. We're gonna look at this news story from newswars.com. It looks like Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary from Washington, the swamp creature paradise, is now saying that they're gonna begin a door-to-door vaccination push. The White House press secretary used disturbing wording during a briefing, promising to get children vaccinated by sending in strike forces. Yes, you heard that right. Strike forces. That sounds pretty sinister. And then you got Sleepy Joe saying we need to go community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, enough times door to door, literally knocking on doors to get people vaccinated. Wow. Oh, and then Jen Psaki then followed up confirming that it was a real thing and not a Biden mental splurge. But it was Psaki's comments afterward that sent the needle to the top of the creepy-o-meter. Okay, so herd immunity is kind of an outdated term, and it's time for the vaccine strike forces to go to people's homes and make sure their children get shot up with experimental substances. This sounds like the plot of a dystopian horror movie. Yes, indeed. Flamethrower actually researched the term. This is a guy on Twitter for strike force. It's a noun, means a military force equipped or organized for sudden attack. Let me read that again. Strike force. A military force equipped and organized for sudden attack. Wow. Oh boy. Mask R for Moron says, I have been waiting for doctors and scientists to speak out regarding these mRNA treatments are doing to kids and the corresponding absolute lack of risk of them being injured by COVID. I have lost all hope. Now the feds are coming for our kids. Very scary. And the best word, this is from L. Ayers, another Twitter user. And the best words they could come up with is strike force. Strike, a verb. Hit forcibly and deliberately with one's hand, or a weapon or other implement. He raised his hand as if to strike me. More synonyms: bang, beat, hit, pound, bash, wallop. That sounds really good. Lawmakers responded to Biden's door-to-door announcement with alarm. Dan Crenshaw from Texas said, how about don't knock on my door? You're not my parents, you're the government. Make the vaccine available and let people be free to choose. Why is that concept so hard for the left? Senator Rand Paul said, no, the government doesn't decide who gets vaccinated. You do. Do not submit to the fear mongers. Um, Mark Brunovich says our office sent a letter to President Biden yesterday regarding indications that the feds have medical records revealing contact information for unvaccinated Americans. If true, this is a severe breach of privacy, and I won't tolerate such intrusions in Arizona. Wow, crazy. Okay, let's go to the next story here. Uh, so it says here children are being gassed with carbon dioxide due to mask mandates, warns medical journal. This is from Infowars.com, but it was published in naturalnews.com. So it says here study found German school children forced to wear masks all day, inhaling 300% more CO2 than legally allowed, putting them at risk of hypoxia or oxygen deprivation. Forcing school children to mask up in order to get an education is a form of toxic chemical gassing that is resulting in many of them developing serious health problems, including physical, mental, and emotional illness. A new study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, found that American school children who are forced to wear a mask all day long are inhaling at least 300% more CO2 than is legally allowed, putting putting them at risk at serious uh putting them at serious risk of hypoxia or oxygen deprivation. If you want to know more about that, search up um, Helios Flight 522. The mask wearing children who were evaluated as part of the research reported irritability, headaches, and a reluctance to go to school, all of which can be understood as consequences of elevated carbon dioxide levels in inhaled air, the paper explains. The dead space volume of the mask collects exhaled carbon dioxide quickly after a short time. The paper further highlights, noting that impairments attributable to hypercapnia are the end result of mask mandates. Hypercapnia is when too much CO2 builds up in the bloodstream. It is important to note that for study purposes, the school children were only required to wear a series of masks for 15 minutes at a time. In real life, of course, they are expected to wear a mask for many hours at a time all throughout the day, which is absolutely sick and should be banned. Okay, that's my take on it. It is so sick. Researchers looked at KN95 respirators and surgical masks to see how they affected 45 otherwise healthy children between 6 and 17 years of age living in southwest Germany. The room in which they were evaluated was well ventilated several times for each experiment to ensure that CO2 content in the air was kept below 0.1% by volume. The 3-minute measurement gauged baseline unmasked CO2 levels, followed by another 3-minute interval that looked at joint inhaled and exhaled air. German law prohibits anything more than 0.2% or 2,000 parts per million of CO2 in an enclosed room occupied by children. The children who measured having the lowest CO2 levels caused by mask wearing, however, clocked in at 3 times this amount. In one instance, a 7-year-old measured 25,000 parts per million under the mask, showing that face coverings do, in fact, deprive the wearer of oxygen. This in turn can lead to brain damage and other health problems. Scientists worry that reporting facts will make others call them anti-maskers. It's ridiculous. Several of the study's authors worry that reporting their findings will make them outcast within the scientific community. Johns Hopkins University epidemiologist Stefan Burrell, for instance, asked fellow epidemiologist Tracy Hoeg if sharing this information makes me an anti-masker. Hoeg responded that, in her opinion, her study findings do not necessarily implicate high CO2 levels as the cause of the health damage, because the research did not include a comparative, unmasked baseline group by age. Ironically, the fact that the effects of children wearing a mask was never evaluated in comparison with them not wearing a mask before mask mandates became a thing just goes to show that mask mandates are bogus to begin with and have no basis in real science. 1 year later, and no one has shown that asking kids to wear masks works, tweeted Vinay Prasad, University of California, San Francisco epidemiologist who helped co-author the paper. US CDC recommends masking from 2 to 5 years. They need to do a trial to prove it. I bet it will fail. You bet it will fail. They did a trial. A German judge already ruled that mask mandates are illegal, by the way. Why then is this whole charade still taking place? Both there in Germany and here in the United States, and a bunch here in Canada as well. More related news about the Wuhan coronavirus mask genocide can be found at chemicalviolence.com. Interesting article there. Okay, let's take a break, listen to some music, and we'll be back. You're listening to the Philippe.mathers show. Don't go away.
Handle
Okay, welcome back, guys, to the show. That song was called "A Mist of Lies" by Sven Carlson, featuring Difty. Okay, and if you like that song, you can go to Epidemic Sounds, and you can find it there. Okay, another story. This one out of New Zealand, available at Infowars.com. New Zealand Health Minister. Government will be chasing out unvaccinated people. Hmm. Oh, so no vaccine? F off. Wow. What a great place. Okay, so it says New Zealand's COVID-19 response minister warned that the government soon will begin chasing out people who still haven't gotten the COVID-19 vaccine. Wow. MP Chris Hipkins said Wednesday that the New Zealand government next year will soon start pushing, sorry, not pushing, pursuing. Wow. Pursuing individuals who haven't come forward to get the experimental jab. Wow. Pursuing. Let's take a look at that word and its meaning. Okay, to pursue, follow someone or something in order to catch or attack them. Wow. Just let me read that again for you guys. Pursue. It's a verb. Follow someone or something in order to catch or attack them. Wow. That's uh that's pretty sinister. Um I think early next year we'll be in the phase of chasing out people who haven't come forward to get their vaccination or missed their bookings and so on. Oh yeah. Wow. Hipkins told reporters following COVID press update. Wow. Hipkins asserted the government will essentially hunt down unvaccinated individuals, claiming normal human behavior suggests many people won't willingly take the mRNA vaccine. Yeah, because it causes damage to the body. Duh. So everyone will be able to get the vaccine between now and the end of the year. Of course, I want every New Zealander to come forward, but human behavior suggests that there will be some people that we actually have to really go out and look for. Wow. Yeah, the manhunt. Oh, gotta get those unvaccinated. Ugh. Wow. If that doesn't scream tyranny, dictatorship, I don't know what will. That's crazy. But our commitment is everyone. We will have the opportunity to get the vaccine by the end of the year. Hipkins continued, adding that in fact everyone will get the vaccine. Everyone will get the vaccine. Um, Wow, if that doesn't set your creep meter like to the red level, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what will. That's really creepy. But I can't say that we aren't going to have some hesitant people or just some people who haven't come forward that we don't have to go out and find next year. Oh. This tyrannical encouragement comes after the Biden administration declared the federal government would soon deploy door-to-door vaccine task force to encourage vaccinated Americans to take the jab. Yeah, it's gonna be yeah, hey, Joe, I'm from the government. See here on my paper that you didn't take the vaccine. No, I don't want it. Oh, sorry, can't let you do that. Rolling me out. Absolutely insane. Biden's announcement was predictably met with ridicule and warnings not to violate constitutional rights. Yes. Very sick. Okay, let's look at this story. Um, again from Infowars.com. Neurological tics, clicks, and whistles. Vaccine injured mom documents horrific side effects following COVID vaccine. So she suffers from involuntary spasms, clicks, and whistles in wake of injection. Washington mom blames Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine for causing her body to experience involuntary neurological tics, including muscle twitches and tremors that make her whistle and click uncontrollably. Wow. But it's safe, guys. It's all good. Take it. It's great, great stuff. Um, some governors even announced that you'll get gifts. Restaurants offering um, donuts, free donuts for like a year. That's great. Body's all rotting and decaying, but hey, you got a donut. It's fun in a little car. Oh, it's so sick. Um, I don't have any control over what my body is doing. My eyes, my head, my mouth, the whistles, the clicks. The only thing that seems to help is tapping, which is why I keep trying to do this tap side of face. Music, if I tap to the beat, usually I can stop doing it for a while. And according to Rodriguez, she began suffering tremors and muscle spasms shortly after receiving her second Moderna dose back on May 5th after contracting COVID twice. Doctors had reportedly told her a third COVID diagnosis could be fatal. When I got my vaccine, I got it, because my doctors told me that if I got COVID again, that there was a very high chance that I would not make it this time, that I would die. Rodriguez explained. After 57 days, however, Rodriguez, who also has fibromyalgia, now suffers severe neurological issues and clicks and hums randomly and uncontrollably at times. This is day 3 of tremors, and now I'm whistling, she says, adding that sometimes having the weight of a heavy dog laying on her helps stop the convulsions. Rodriguez says she was nearly suicidal a week ago, but was prevented from going through with it because of her ailment. I almost killed myself a week and a half ago, and the only reason I didn't was because I couldn't move. Despite opting not to kill herself, the 35-year-old says she feels like she's not gonna make it much longer. Doctors told her low lithium levels could be an underlying cause. But Kelly says she's never been an issue in the past. I feel frustrated. I'm trying to stay positive. Um, but it's hard, especially if I go somewhere and everyone is staring at me because I clearly look like I'm on crack. I'm scared. I'm sad. I'm mad. The frightened mom goes on to warn others to ask questions about, before injecting themselves with the experimental jabs. This vaccine needs to stop being pushed on everyone. Everybody needs to stop being scared into getting a vaccine that may or may not help what's going on. Nobody told me the real risks behind getting this vaccine. Nobody. They told me that I might get sick. They told me that I might be sick for a couple of days and then I would be fine. I didn't get sick. I felt fine afterwards. And then a week and a half later, my medication stopped working, and 57 days later, I look like this. I would rather have COVID right now. My son is freaked out. Wow. Crazy stuff. Okay, we're going to take another break, listen to some music, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. You're listening to the Phil Mathers Show.
Ooh, I've got this feeling deep within my mind. All the crazy circumstances we just leave behind. Ooh, we're leaving early, following the sun. You keep saying life begins here, down the 101. It's like we were made for all the perfect moments like these. I just want us to get more. And forever, all of the time, you'll be mine. Ooh. Come follow, I know how the story goes. 'Cause we have been through the highs, yeah, we've been through the lows. Fire again. So release my burden, let my every dream unchain. It's like we were made for all the perfect moments like these. I just want us to get more and forever.
welcome back to the show, guys. This song was All of the Time by Go for Howl featuring Red Revision. Okay, this next story is opinion piece by Neil Clark, who's a journalist, writer, broadcaster, and blogger. His award winning blog can be found at www.neoclark66.blogspot.com. He tweets on politics and world affairs at neoclark66. And this story is from RT. The proposed relaxing of COVID restrictions in England has sparked a social media meltdown from new abnormal enthusiasts. Boris Johnson has announced that masks and social distancing are likely to end on July 19th, which has, predictably, been met with a hysterical irrational response by those who don't seem to want life to ever return to normal. Talk about being triggered. Boris Johnson's press conference on Monday sent wear a mask Twitter into a hyperbolic meltdown of epic proportions. The PM announced that the public would have independence from burdensome domestic COVID 19 restrictions, which were supposed to have lasted for only 3 weeks, but instead have lasted for 16 months on 19th of July, with confirmation this coming on July 12th. The relaxing of restrictions has been foreshadowed in an article in the Mail on Sunday, with new UK Health Secretary Sajid Javid, in which he said Britain would need to learn to live with COVID. While we should all remain cynical about what the government may have planned for the autumn, Javid declared rightly, in my view, that the opening the country up would actually make us healthier physically and mentally. Cue the most incredible Twitter meltdown ever seen. What the government was proposing was genocide. Why are the British people accepting this? We need to close borders, effective test and trace, social distancing through bi weekly remote and in person education, in schools, masks indoors, work from home, and vax until infections are really low. Then recover slowly, opined one tweeter, ironically with the moniker Freedom. Wow, incredible. Citing Orwell, again, who said satire was dead, the Observer's Carol Cadwalder tweeted, War is peace, freedom is slavery, health is the deliberate mass infection of an entire nation's children with a novel and mutating virus with unknown long term consequences. Yes, panic, panic, panic. The hashtag wear a mask was trending with a whole succession of self righteous virtue signalers telling the world that they would continue to mask up after July 19th, whatever the government announced. Repeat after me people who wear masks are good people. People who don't are bad people. Probably supporters of Brexit and Donald Trump. Um, the thing about mask wearing is it protects others more than you, declared Liberal Democrat MP Layla Moran. Probably should be Layla Moron. who piteously informed us that she continued to wear a mask indoors after July 19th, as if we had to know. The liberal Democrat supporting author Emma Kennedy tweeted, "In a nutshell, post July 29th, there will be people prepared to wear masks because they care about other people. And those who don't, and that's it, isn't it?" Uh, First of all, masks don't work. So, but fine, you can walk around with a face diaper on your face. Um, when I replied saying that it wasn't and asked her for evidence that masks work, she blocked me. Nothing like a nice dose of illiberal liberalism on a Sunday evening after your roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, and rhubarb crumble. Oh, and by the way, Emma, the date in question was July 19th, not the 29th. Everywhere there were the inevitable but utterly ludicrous analogies between mask wearing and road safety. Comedian David Schneider responded to Sajid Javid's tweet saying, "We're going to have to learn to live with COVID, just as we already do with flu," by tweeting, "We're going to remove all traffic lights, road markings, speed limits, and seatbelts. We're going to have to learn to live with car crashes." Uh, that makes zero sense. I mean, there's still car crashes. But in most cases, you're just diagnosed with COVID anyways. How's the guy die? Well, his car rolled over and rolled into a ditch and into a body of water. But it's totally COVID. And hey, here's your $50,000 check. Oh, thank you, sir. Nice. Yeah, woohoo. Oh, how edgy. Because not wearing a face mask in midsummer for a seasonal upper respiratory tract virus is just like driving at 130 miles per hour on the motorway and speeding through red lights on the high street. Well, of course. You didn't know that? What Sunday proved is that the cult of COVID has become a new secular religion in a country where, ironically enough, sneering at older established religions is considered the height of cool. The suggestion that masks, the very visible sign of true believers of the cult, might no longer be mandatory in 2 weeks' time, has caused a lot of people to lose it big time. It really has been embarrassing to witness. The maskists take it as an article of faith that masks save lives. They forget the statements made by government scientists in March and April last year advising against wearing them. They ignore the rather inconvenient real world fact that countries which didn't mandate face coverings, like the previously well regarded, politically correct EU member state Sweden, have had much better COVID outcomes than many countries which did. Prior to March 2020, the predominantly hardcore pro Remain mass zealots would have lauded Sweden. Now it doesn't exist for them. Neither do the US states, which have scrapped restrictions without any spikes in cases or deaths. The Progressive Labor Party, which is supposed to, no sniggering in the back, represent the workers, reacted to Javid's article by calling for the scientific evidence to be presented before the government lifted restrictions. Did the Labour Party call for the scientific evidence, as opposed to dodgy modeling, to be presented before previous government lockdowns? If they did, I must have missed it. In a country Britain has become these past 16 months calm, Rational analysis, stiff upper lip, and balanced risk assessment has been replaced by bedwetting hysteria and hyperbole. Proper science, which is politically impartial, has been replaced by the views of activist scientists pushing political agendas. Groupthink and virtue signaling dominate and have replaced do it yourself critical thinking for a lot of people. Don't be gaslit or intimidated by the oh so virtuous bossy ones with the loud voices. Masks and social distancing are not normal, yet we are encouraged to see those who simply want life as it was lived in Britain for hundreds of years prior to March 2020 to return as crazy selfish libertarians. Everything is upside down. Extremists who want us to wear masks and social distance from our fellow human beings forever are billed as sensible moderates who care about people. But in truth, they are constructing an antisocial hell on earth where life would, after a while, simply not be worth living. People need people. We need to see each other's faces, to see them smile, and see them laugh. We need to be able to freely meet fellow human beings, to hug and to kiss them, to dance with them, to sing Auld Lang Syne with them on New Year's Eve, and enjoy life to the full. Yet it appears some individuals, we used to call them misanthropes, don't want this life enhancing freedom, or at least not for others. In his classic work Escape from Freedom, Dr. Erich Fromm, who led the Nazis, who fled the Nazis, and analyzed why authoritarianism had appeal. Freedom for some can be frightening, especially when the government itself is setting out to terrify the population. But when people seek to escape from freedom, the danger is they turn to fascism or other forms of totalitarian rule. It's not only a face mask, it's a dehumanizing symbol of control, one that some, rather disturbingly, seem most upset about losing. Wow, what a powerful article. Um, and that's from RT, written by Neil Clark. Pretty good piece. Okay, let's take a break. We'll listen to some music, and we'll come back after the break. You'll listen to the not the Alex Jones show, even though that show is really good. You're listening to the Phil Mathers show. Don't go away.
I've been used sometimes, left alone in the heat of the night. Every time, and up like a prey, got nothing but my soul
welcome back to the show, guys. That song was called Animal by Suffer City, available from Epidemic Sounds. Okay, this article here is from Rebel News. Um, Fauci, fully vaccinated people should continue to wear masks in areas with low vaccination rates. Yeah, gotta keep wearing that mask. Don't you dare take it off. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says that Americans who are fully vaccinated should continue to wear masks. Yes, continue to wear masks. You heard that right. In areas with low vaccination uptake. In an interview on NBC, host Chuck Todd asked Fauci, "We know Mississippi has the lowest vaccinated rate in the country. You are in Biloxi, Mississippi right now, Dr. Fauci. Would you be wearing a mask? You're fully vaccinated, but would you be wearing a mask in Biloxi?" "I think I would have a good reason to do that," Fauci said. "I mean, because there's, we've said so often the vaccines are not, even as good as they are, and highly effective. Nothing is 100%. But if you put yourself in an environment in which you have a high level of viral dynamics and a very low level of vaccine, you might want to go on an extra step and say, when I'm in an area where there's a considerable degree of viral circulation, I might want to go the extra mile to be cautious enough to make sure that I get the extra added level of protection. Okay, even though the vaccines themselves are highly effective." Oh boy. Oh. Todd pointed out that nearly 10,000 Americans died of COVID 19 in June, questioning Fauci as to how many of those deaths can be attributed to people not being vaccinated. And if you look at the number of deaths, about 99.2% of them are unvaccinated, but 0.8% are vaccinated. No vaccine is perfect, but when you talk about the avoidability of hospitalization and deaths, Chuck, it's really sad and tragic that most of our these are variable and preventable, Fauci said. Obviously, there's going to be some people, because of the variability among people and the response to the vaccine, and you'll see some who are vaccinated and still get into trouble and get hospitalized and die. But the overwhelming proportion of people who get into trouble are the unvaccinated. And that's the reason why the diseases are really entirely avoidable and preventable. Yeah, what a creep. Fucking slime ball. Oh boy. Over 200,000 Americans have died from the virus since Biden took office, according to the Johns Hopkins Center for Systems Science and Engineering. Last month, Fauci claimed that those who attacked him also attacked science, despite the infectious diseases expert seemingly flip flopping on his position several times during the pandemic. The more extreme to get, the more obvious how political it is. Fudge has blood on his hands, Fauci said on the New York Times podcast Sway. Are you kidding me? Here's a guy whose entire life has been devoted to saving lives. And now you tell me he's like Hitler? Come on, folks. Fauci doubled down, claiming that his critics are actually criticizing science. It is essential, as a scientist, that you evolve your opinion and your recommendations based on the data as it evolves, Fauci said. And that's the reason why I say people will then criticize me about that are actually criticizing science. He told interviewer Kara Swisher, sounds like Swiffer, the people who are giving ad hominems are saying, Fauci misled us. First he said no mass, then he said mass. Well, let me give you a flash. That's the way science works. You work with the data you have all the time. That is the nature of science, the self-correcting process. Whoa. Wow. Oh boy. Okay, on to some other news here. Yesterday, the Haitian president was assassinated in his home. Let's read into this story from Rebel News. Haitian President Jovenel Moise was assassinated in an attack on his home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince, according to Haitian officials. Interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph called the attack on Moise a hateful, inhumane, and barbaric act in a statement according to Fox News. First Lady Martine Moise was also injured during the attack and is being treated in a hospital nearby. The country's security situation is under control of the National Police of Haiti and the Armed Forces of Haiti, Joseph's statement said, according to CNBC. Democracy and the Republic will win. The Prime Minister said the attack occurred around 1 a.m. on Wednesday, with some of the assailants speaking Spanish. Around 1 o'clock in the morning during the night of Tuesday 6 to Wednesday 7 July 2021, a group of unidentified individuals, including some speaking Spanish, attacked the private residence of the president and fatally injured the head of state, Joseph said in a statement quoted in the media. The assailants claimed to be agents with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, according to videos taken from locals in the area of the president's home. In one of the videos, a man with an American accent is heard saying in English over a megaphone, DEA operation, everybody stand down. DEA operation, everybody back up. Stand down. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki described the attack on Moise as horrific and tragic in an interview on MSNBC. Psaki added that sleepy Joe Biden would be briefed on the situation later on Wednesday. Yeah, after his nap, his little nappy nap. In an interview on CNN, Psaki gave a message to the Haitian people. The message to the people of Haiti is this is a tragic tragedy. Kind of repeating yourself there, but okay. She said, according to ABC News, It's a horrific crime, and we're so sorry for the loss that they are all suffering and going through, as many of them are waking up this morning and hearing the news, as we stand ready and stand by them to provide any assistance that's needed. Will that happen? I have um really huge doubts. I think Sleepy Joe's gonna do absolutely fuck all for the Haitian people. Um, this thing looks really sketch. Um, Probably gonna be more about the story in the coming days or maybe weeks. I'm not sure, but it looks really weird. I mean, the guy, I don't think he was the best, but silly assassinating him, not the way to do things. Okay, this next story is actually pretty interesting. Um, so this is from newswars.com. So, FBI ridiculed for seizing man's Lego set. Yes, you heard that right. The FBI seized a man's Lego set of U.S. Capitol. Wow. File this under what the hell? The FBI seized a man's Lego set of the U.S. Capitol building after declaring him to be a leading rioter during the January 6th incident. Court records note that federal prosecutors are accusing 27-year-old Robert Morse of directing other rioters in one of the most intense and prolonged clashes with Capitol Police around the building that day. According, former Army Ranger Morse, like many others arrested since January 6th, has been languishing in prison and faces 9 counts of inciting violence. Wow. The documents note during his arrest, law enforcement recovered some clothing and other items that appeared to match those he carried with him on the 6th, including a Don't Tread on Me flag, a neck gaiter, a military utility flag, a black tourniquet, and military fatigues. Law enforcement also recovered, watch out, folks, like this guy is a mass terrorist, okay? Like, oh my god. Like, recovered a fully constructed US Capitol Lego set. Oh my god, the horror. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god, I'm literally having like sweats right now, guys. Oh my god. It's horrific. A Lego set, guys. Oh my god. Oh. The Hill notes that it's unclear why Morris had the Lego set. Oh man, oh man. Oh boy. Okay. Let's take a break. We'll listen to some more music. Um when we come back, we're gonna talk about um the newly put in um, governor general, a position that I think personally should be abolished. I don't see the um, utility of the role. But anyway, more on that after the break. Don't go away. You're listening to the Phil Mathers Show.
Firefly, how short is life? I dreamt we had more than 20. I have seen this before, and I have lived more than plenty. Now lay me in the ocean. Why lullabies? I've used my time. Now lend me to the ocean. Sing my songs when I'm gone. I know sorrow, I know pain. Let them have me if I'm ready. All them skies know our names. When it's time, burn me steady. Then lay me in the ocean. Why lullabies? I've used my time. Now lend me to the ocean. Sing my songs when I'm gone. Ashes rise, ashes rise. White noise in the night. Ashes rise, close your eyes. Lay me in the ocean. Lullabies, I've used my time. Lend me to the ocean. Sing my songs when I'm gone. Ashes rise, ashes rise. White noise in the night. Ashes rise, ashes rise. Close your eyes, close your eyes. Taste the noise in the night. Ashes rise, ashes rise.
Okay, welcome back to the show, guys. That song was called "Lay Me in the Ocean" by Blood Red Sun. And if you like that tune, you can find it at Epidemic Sounds, and I think also on Spotify. Most of these songs from Epidemic Sounds are available to listen to on Spotify and um, YouTube. Okay, uh, Trudeau, the sack of shit, running this beautiful country of mine, of like all Canadians, into the ground, has announced the first Indigenous Governor General. Um, Her name is Mary Simon, an Inuk leader and former Canadian diplomat, has been named as the country's next Governor General, the first Indigenous person to serve in the role. Now, we know that um, since January 2020, um, I don't think there's been a governor general because Julie Payette, the other piece of shit governor general, um, and I believe she was an astronaut, but I'll just check that. Oh, yes, okay. Canadian engineer, scientist, and former astronaut who served, okay, as Governor General of Canada from 2017 to 2021. Um, yeah, so she was, um, in my opinion, a huge piece of shit. I remember watching Julie Payette at the Remembrance Day ceremony, I believe it was, or might also have been um the commemoration of Vimy Ridge, and as the parade of brave men and women in uniform was marching past her, she wouldn't even salute. And that's something that I found disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Um, Super low from somebody with that position. To do that is super low. Um, yeah, so I think the only one that was good was Michael Jean. I think that's about the only one that was actually good. Okay, anyway, going back to this story. It says Justin Trudeau, the piece of shit prime minister, told media that Queen Elizabeth II has already approved the appointment. Queen Elizabeth, who is another person that I do not like, but that is my opinion. Um, which will make Simon the 30th Governor General and the first Indigenous person to occupy the role. In her remarks, Simon stated that while she is bilingual in English and Inuktitut, she is not fluent in French. I think, um, even though I don't support that position, I mean, you're in Canada. Canada has, if you remember, two official languages, okay? Um, you don't have to have a big brain to name those two languages. Um, you got English, and the second one is French. Um, Well, Inuktitut is a pretty cool language. Unfortunately, it's not widely spoken by um, the vast majority of Canadians. I think the only areas where Inuktitut is spoken, and again, not bashing anybody who speaks it, it's actually a really cool language, but it's just got 39,000 speakers. And most of those live here in the Northwest Territories. Um, Nunatsiavut, which is a autonomous area claimed by the Inuit in Newfoundland and Labrador. Nunavik, Quebec, which is northern Quebec, and Nunavut, and also Alaska, which I didn't know. I didn't know they spoke that in Alaska. That's pretty interesting. But it's like I said, it's only got 39,400 um 75 speakers. Um, so I mean, it's not an official language. Um, so and then she goes on to blame yeah, so she doesn't even speak French. She's not fluent in French, which I would make it a main criteria for that kind of job, even though I don't support it. If I was in charge, I'd personally abolish it, as I think it's a huge waste of money, but that's just my opinion. But I think you should be able to speak English fluently and speak French fluently. Okay? And then you can have your Inuktitut, your Russian, your Ukrainian, Spanish, um, Finnish, Swedish, Norwegian, um, Lithuanian, whatever language you speak like third, you know? But at least like have the basic two main languages of the country, which are English and French. If you don't have those two, well, I mean, I'm sorry, but you're not suited for the job. And that's the plain and simple of it. I mean, then she goes on to blame her early education in a federal day school in Quebec, of all places. Um, I mean, Quebec, I'll just go and check, but I think it's the place where about 99% of the population speak French. Um, Language. This is on Wikipedia, French. Yeah, so I mean, the majority of people speak French. Um, Looks like the area where she's from, it's not available. They don't have data for up there. Not too sure why. Um, I'm guessing maybe it's because people don't fill forms up there. I don't know. Nothing against the people up there. Maybe they just don't do it. I don't know. But yes, the main language, uh, it's actually the official language of Quebec. Um, so I mean, I don't really understand why somebody from Quebec um wouldn't be able to speak French. Even though she says she was in a federal day school, I think that like they'd at least teach you French in Quebec, but it doesn't look like it. Um, but then she said she was deeply committed to studying the language and plans to conduct the business of the Governor General of Canada in both official languages. Um, According to the Canadian Bullshit Corporation, the CBC, the money cesspit um, of a joke media um, that just spews propaganda and shit um, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that I think should be defunded and wasted. That's just my opinion. Um, I it's the most crappy journalism I think I've ever seen in my life. Their radio is a joke. Um, yeah, okay, well, let's see what they have to say. It says Simon and Inuk from Kuujjuaq, which is in Quebec. Quebec, la belle province. Um, a small hamlet on the coast of Ungava Bay in northeastern Quebec, worked as an announcer and producer with CBC North. Oh, I don't know. There might be a conflict of interest there. Um, um, but I don't know. I'm just saying that like that. But I think if you worked for the CBC and then get a job as the governor general, wouldn't that constitute a conflict of interest even though you don't work for them anymore? I don't know, but it looks kind of sketchy, right? Because you probably have like connections um in the organization, and then you can use that to your like advantage unfairly. Um, that's my take on it. It looks super sketch, but with JT, what the hell isn't sketch? You know. Before starting a decades long career advocating for indigenous rights. She helped negotiate the James Bay and Northern Quebec Agreement in 1975, a landmark deal between the Cree and Inuit in Quebec's north, the provincial government, and Hydro-Québec. Last September, Turdno assured media that he wouldn't replace the excellent Judy Payette, more the disgusting Judy Payette. In January 2020, we reported that half of Judy Payette's reported workplace humiliation. We'll just take a quick look at that because it is an interesting fact. Um, this again from Rebel News. This was back in January of 2020, um, it's just a short article here. It says half of employees of the Governor General have experienced workplace humiliation in the last year. That's not exactly the more equitable, cheery, lady led workplace Justin promised when implementing his gender quotas across the whole of government. The results of the annual workplace survey of federal employees are in, and the survey polls bureaucrats on their opinions about their job, everything from their salary compensation to workplace harassment. For the second year in a row, Rideau Hall has a toxic workplace problem. 22% of employees working at Rideau Hall have experienced harassment in the last year, slightly down from 25% in 2018, but according to McLean's, it still remains the third highest number of any federal department or agency. The average percentage of of employees who say they experience workplace harassment is only 14% across all federal agencies. Staff at Rideau Hall also report an increase in being excluded or ignored. Wow. Up to 40 from 30% in 2018. Staff reporting humiliation is now at 50% in 2019, up from 36% in 2018. Employees experiencing interference with work or withheld resources is up to 41% in 2019 from 27% in 2018. And Sheila Gunn Reid from Rebel News has a video about that, and I'll post the link to that um, in the description of the video if you're interested in seeing that. But yeah, she was a real piece of work. Um, that monster. Yeah, it wasn't too good. No, she was not. Some more Canadian news after the break. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back to the show, guys. That song was called um Collapsing by Diffluent. Okay, before the break I was mentioning that we're going to talk about some Canada news. This one is about Canada's first prime minister, Sir John Alexander MacDonald. Um, so this is quite disturbing. Canada's National Archive cancels country's first prime minister. Let me just read that again. Canada's National Archive cancels country's first prime minister. Wow. Just just like that at the snap of a finger. Canada's National Archive has effectively canceled the country's first prime minister, Sir John Alexander MacDonald, by deleting a page about him because it was offensive and didn't represent Canada as a diverse and multicultural. Oh god, so sick. Sir John Alexander MacDonald, born in Scotland, was Canada's first prime minister. He is famous for his role in the establishment of Canada as a country on July 1st, 1867. Some of his other notable achievements include building the Canadian Pacific Railway and forming a strong conservative party, writes Dan Freeth. However, it is MacDonald's role in passing the Indian Act, which mandated that children from indigenous tribes assimilate into Christian boarding schools, that has drawn the ire of far left activists. The government's establishment of the Chinese Immigration Act in 1885, which limited the entrance of Chinese immigrants into Canada by charging them a head tax of $50 each, is also apparently grounds for McDonald's cancellation. I mean, these things have happened like years ago. Like this is over 100 some odd years ago. Like what the hell? But no, we'll just cancel it. What a horror. So sick. I don't know. Unreal. Okay, let's read on. Even though it's making me like physically just sick. Oh god, history just being erased every single day. Just absolutely mind-boggling. Oh god. But I am still proud to fly the maple leaf, guys. Still a symbol that brings me joy and pride. Seeing the red and white with the beautiful maple leaf. Um, Such a beautiful flag. Even the old Canadian flag is pretty nice. I always like the I believe it was a fish actually on the red ensign. Um, was there a fish? No, no, actually there wasn't a fish. Um, it was just a bunch of lions. I think that's the English, and then you got the Scottish lion. I think that's the Irish harp, and the um, French fleur de lis. And then in the bottom, you have on a white uh, triangular background 3 maple leaves. Um, and in the quarter, the British flag. Um, yeah, so that used to be the flag until 1965, I believe, is when the current Canadian flag came into view. Yes, February 15th, 1965 was when the current Canadian flag came into use. Okay, back to the article here. Um, After an unknown number of complaints, it may have just been one. Canada's National Archive website apologized and vowed to remove all offending material about MacDonald and any other historical figure up to 21st century woke imbeciles. Our current website contains information that was written many years ago, states a notice posted on the website. Unfortunately, it does not always reflect our diverse and multicultural country, often presenting one side of Canada's history. Library Archives Canada acknowledged that some of its online presence is offensive and continues to correct these issues. That is why content that is redundant or outdated will be removed or rewritten. In other words, history will be rewritten to satiate the mob. Um, I think I read that in was it George Orwell's 1984? I think that's where that was. Let me do a quick search. Um, Removal of history. I think it was that. Yes, it says in George Orwell's 1984, he wrote that every record that has been destroyed or falsified, every book rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, history has stopped. Wow. How dystopian does that sound? Um, as we previously highlighted, while Canada is canceling its historical figures, representation for the LGBT movement is more ingrained than ever before. I don't have anything against gays or lesbians or whatever, but to destroy symbols of Canadian history is unacceptable. Just disgusting. Um, the Canadian government recently announced that it is expanding Pride Month for the entire summer and calling it Pride Season. Wow. Um, Meanwhile, the mob is also toppling statues of Queen Elizabeth II and Queen Victoria outside legislatures because they are symbols of the country's past. I mean, even though I don't like the Queen, toppling statues or anything like that is just totally disgusting and unacceptable. It should be intolerable, like a zero tolerance policy for that. But no, it's all good. It's cool. It's yeah, just destroy the statues. Oh, okay. Let's go on to some interesting news about a interesting subject. About via rail. Um, they want to have a high speed um or high frequency train. So this is from the National Post. It says the federal government is moving ahead with a high frequency via rail line between Quebec City and Toronto. Transportation Minister Omar Algabra or Algebra, I don't really want to pronounce that name, is set to announce Tuesday. Algebra has a press conference scheduled for Tuesday morning in Quebec City, but traveled there Monday afternoon on a Via train and posted a video making an announcement to passengers. He said specifically the government was looking to start a tender process for someone to build the line. We are launching the procurement process for building a brand new dedicated line for a high frequency rail that will connect Quebec City to Montreal, um, Ottawa, and Toronto. He said while on board the train headed to Quebec City. It will increase the speed up to 200 kilometers an hour and increase frequency for travelers like yourself and transform the connection between big cities. Via trains currently travel on tracks shared with freight rail companies, leading to delays and preventing trains from reaching top speeds. Freight companies which own the rail lines can take priority over passengers. The dedicated rail line would allow the trains to move much faster, significantly reducing travel times and improving the service's on time performance. According to VIA, a trip between Ottawa and Toronto would take 3 hours and 15 minutes on the high frequency rail system, compared to the current 4 hours and 30 minutes. The system would not be as fast as high speed rail systems in countries such as Japan that operate on specialized tracks with faster trains. Few details were available in advance of the announcement, but the high frequency rail project has been in discussions for years, and the government allocated just over $70 million in 2019 for studies and a business case for the project. The most recent budget set aside nearly 500 million over 6 years for infrastructure investments to support the success of the project. But the total plan is estimated to cost more than $4 billion, according to memos released through Access to Information in 2019. The Quebec City to Toronto corridor is by far the busiest in VIA's network and accounts for a 72% of all travelers and two-thirds of the Crown Corporation's revenue. I'd like to do that trip one day from Toronto all the way to Quebec City. I've just been between Toronto and Montreal and Toronto down to London. But yeah, that's a pretty cool corridor. Um, While trains in that region carry more passengers than anywhere in the country, they still don't break even, with every passenger being subsidized 31.59 by taxpayers, according to the company's 2019 financial results. The total loss on that route was $114 million in 2019, and overall VIA received $280 million from the government to cover operating losses. Uh, Another reason why they should just open it up, um, again, more government idiocracy, by keeping everything like locked down and just contributing more and more to the national debt, which I will go just for shits and giggles check right now. Let's see what the Canadian debt is right now. Canadian debt clock. Okay, let's see. Oh boy. So today, and it's just going up and up. It's a staggering um I think that's 1 trillion. What I think $1.1 trillion deficit. Um um I don't know, man. Uh, that's and it just keeps on going up and up and up every second. Um, I'm looking at the numbers right now, and it's scary. And yeah, if you want to check that out, it's at debtclock.ca. Um, yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, I believe that's 1 trillion. I'm never really good at numbers, but I think think that's 1 trillion. Let me check. Yeah, I think it is a trillion. But, it's a huge number. It's my brain is just, oh boy. Um, I mean, um, Canada's debt back in 1870 was $320,548.00. And oh boy, it's pretty crazy. Um, okay, let's what's our time here? Um, okay, I think it's time for some music. And when we come back, we're gonna this news again relating to a train. Just some more sadder news though. After the break, you're listening to the Phil Mathers show. Don't go away. Deal Breaker by Jet Everill, featuring Red Revision, available from Epidemic Sound. Okay, this story, related to a train, um, but like I said before the break, sad, story, out of Chicago, which is also known as the Windy City. Some people, also call it Chirac, because it is such a violent city. If you look at the, murder rate in Chicago, um, so I think there's actually a website. I can't, um, find it here, but we'll just go on the, Chicago Police Department website. Um, they don't really have any up to date. The last murder report was from 1999 to 2008. They, yeah, they haven't really updated, probably because, um, it's got so many, people. But just take this article here from the Chicago Sun-Times. Um, After 3 years of progress, Chicago's murder tally skyrockets in 2020. Um, an 8-year-old girl fatally shot while riding in a car with family members in Canneryville. A popular Southside rapper killed in a daylight shooting along the city's ritziest shopping corridor. A mother of two stabbed to death while at work at Wicker Park Walgreens. Um, a well-known and influential gang member shot and killed while driving in a part of Humboldt Park. Um, so just in December of 2020, there were 774 murders in the city. And it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up like a rocket, just shooting up into the sky. Take this article from just a couple months ago. Um, Chicago had the deadliest January in 4 years, according to statistics released by the Chicago Police Department Thursday. Um, so 51 murders that would have been in, January, the highest since 2017, when 52 murders were recorded. So it is not a, pretty place, the Windy City. As we can read here in this News Wars story, college student killed by stray bullet while riding Chicago train. So imagine you're just riding the subway, just, I don't know, going to or from school. Um, so it says here, Max Lewis, a 20-year old guys, Colorado native, was shot in the neck as he commuted home from an internship on an elevated train in Washington Park on Thursday. So sad. Police say he wasn't the intended target. Investigators have yet to provide a possible description of the shooter. It's not even clear which direction the gunfire came from, the Chicago Sun-Times reports. Lewis was rushed to University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. His mom, Dr. Rebecca Rivkin, told WGN News the bullet paralyzed Max from the neck down. The prognosis was that he would never walk or eat again, and he'd likely need a ventilator for the rest of his life. Lewis was reportedly alert in the hospital and communicated to his family and doctors by blinking. His mother says he signaled to her that he would prefer to die than continue living in a severely paralyzed state. Oh God, so sad. If I have to live like this, please pull the plug. Seriously. Lewis reportedly told his family. After fighting for his life for days, he was taken off life support on Sunday. Oh. Lewis reportedly grew up in the Denver area and was preparing to enter his junior year at the University of Chicago in the fall. Wow, so sad. Okay. In some other news, from Infowars, um, 1,500 businesses crippled after U.S. software firm hit with cyber attack. So it says global supply chain disrupted by hackers yet again on Joe Biden's watch. The global supply chain has once again been affected by another cyber attack um, on Joe Biden's watch. Sleepy Joe, guys, he was asleep, I guess, when this happened, as he always is when stuff goes down. Um, this time against U.S. software firm Kaseya. Kaseya, an information technology company that supplies software tools to IT outsourcing firms, was hit with ransomware over the July 4th weekend that resulted in thousands of small businesses' networks going offline across the world. The world, guys. Not just the US, the world. From supermarkets in Sweden to schools in New Zealand. Wow. Um, our global teams are working around the clock to get our customers back up and running, said Kaseya CEO Fred Vocola. We understand that every second they are shut down, it impacts their livelihoods, which is why we're working feverishly to get this resolved. This is a collaborative effort to remediate the issue and identify the parties responsible so that they may be held accountable, added Vicola. We are beyond grateful for the assistance getting our customers back online. The immediate action oriented and solution based approach of CSAT and the FBI, with tremendous overall support from the White House, has proven to be a huge help in ensuring that this attack led only to a very small number of impacted customers. While each and every customer impacted is one too many, the impact of this highly sophisticated attack has proven to be, thankfully, greatly overstated. Revel or are evil, the hackers claiming responsibility for the breach, the same group behind the recent JBS meat supplier cyber attack, have demanded $70 million in Bitcoin to restore all the affected businesses' data. The hackers behind the ransomware attack said that upon payment, they will release a universal decryptor that would unlock computers that had been encrypted and rendered unusable by the attack. According to a note posted to the group's website Sunday, Mr. Vocola declined to discuss the payment issue, the Wall Street Journal reported. This marks the third major cyber attack against the global supply chain infrastructure since Biden captured the White House in January. Since then, Colonial Pipeline, America's largest oil pipeline, paid cyber criminals nearly $5 million in May with the encouragement of the Biden administration, who called the decision to pay the ransom a private sector decision. Guys, I don't think this is a private sector decision. It's a federal sector decision. Okay, wrong terminology there. Later that month, meat supplier JBS was forced to suspend parts of its global distribution operation after getting hit with a cyber attack by Revel. Referring to his notes, Biden claimed Monday at an ice cream shop that the intelligence community would give him a deep dive into the cyber attack. Yeah, that's right. Get your ice cream, Joe. There's a cyber attack going on. Just get your ice cream. Yep. The fact is, the director of the intelligence community will give me a deep dive on what's happened, and I'll know better tomorrow, Biden said. And if it is either with the knowledge of and or a consequence of Russia, I told Putin, we will respond. Oh, man, he probably yawned after that. Oh, man, that was a lot of words there. Man, I bet he was tired after that. Especially talking about Putin, because we all know that the Master Lord Putin basically controls everything, elections, the weather. Um, yeah. Okay. Moving on now. Um, Fans banned from Tokyo 2020 Olympics after Japan declares COVID-19 state of emergency and IOC pledges to support any measure. So, yeah, you wanted to go and have some fun at the Olympics? Watch your favorite athletes? Not anymore. Fans will not, and this is from RT, guys, by the way. Um, Fans will not attend the Olympics following a spike in COVID-19 infections in Japan, with Minister for the Games Tamayo Marakawa announcing that plans to allow spectators have been ditched just 2 weeks before the action begins. Tokyo 2020 President Seiko Hashimoto apologized to ticket holders and described the outlawing of any crowds as regrettable, taking drastic action in an attempt to avoid a new wave of infections amid a rise driven by the highly infectious Delta variant. Like I said, guys, it's probably gonna soon be the Mars variant, the Moon variant, the Water variant, the Pencil variant, the um bubblegum variant, whatever name they can cook up, and people will just gob it up like candy. Hell, that'll probably be the next name, the candy variant, the sun variant, the cell phone variant, the paper variant. Jeez, like it can go on and on. Oh man, so sick. Anyway, if you want to go and read that article, I will put that in the show notes. It's quite long. I have quite a bit of news to cover with short time, as is my schedule. That's life working at an airport. Um, okay, next story. This one from Russia. Um, Russian Pornhub and OnlyFans star Chris the Fox um, falls to her death from 22nd floor of St. Petersburg high rise in apparent suicide. Russian authorities are investigating after porn star Kristina Lisina, also known as Chris the Fox, fell from a window on the 22nd floor of her apartment block in an apparent suicide. Her friends say she suffered from depression. She was 23 years old, same age as me. Um, she was pretty cute too, actually. Um, but okay, anyways, her death, which happened in St. Petersburg, was announced online by her boyfriend, identified only as Rustam, who revealed that she passed away last week and asked for help with money for funeral arrangements. Um, Lisina was born in Minusинsk, a small town in Siberia, and was put up for adoption as a baby. Until the age of 18, she lived with a foster family. After finishing college in 2019, she moved to St. Petersburg, where she got a job in a bank. Um, and then she left after 5 days, guys. Only 5 days at the bank to go work in the port industry, and eventually becoming successful in that. Um, According to her sister Maria, who was also adopted, Lisina had decided to get out of porn. And she'd already bought an apartment for 15 million rubles or $200,000. Speaking to St. Petersburg newspaper Fontanka, Maria said that her sister was planning to open a beauty salon instead. Her boyfriend disputes the claim about Lisina owning her own apartment and said that he provided for her financially. Speaking to Russian magazine Star Hit, he said that she had issues with her mental health. Uh, Goes on to say one of her friends said she suffered from depression. Um, so yeah, kind of a sad story. She was a pretty nice looking girl. Uh, Beautiful eyes. Nice, almost olive eyes. Very beautiful. And guess sad to end her life. Very sad. Never could understand why people did that. Um, if you need help, don't jump out of your 22nd story high rise window. Get some help. Talk to like a counselor, a psychologist, a friend. There are phone numbers out there. Um, if you're feeling like you want to end it, there are numbers. I mean, I can search for a number I could give. So in Canada, let's just see here. The number of the phone. Okay, so this is the crisis service number for Canada. Um, the number is 1-833-456-4566, and it's available 24/7, 365 days a year, guys and gals. Um, and there's also, if you want to text, you can do that too. It's available only from 4 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. Um, and that's in Canada. If you are in the US, there is suicide prevention lifeline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. And that's for you folks down in the griddle US of A. Okay. Next in our news stack, this is about the Euro 2020 soccer tournament going on right now. It says England face UEFA charge after fan points laser at Denmark goalkeeper Schmeichel before decisive penalty. England's celebrations at reaching their first major final in 55 years have been tempered somewhat after UEFA revealed they are going to charge Gareth Southgate's team with a string of offenses. Sorry. during the semi-final win against Denmark. Footage of the game's turning point during extra time at Wembley um, on Wednesday evening showed evidence that a fan was attempting to use a laser pointer to distracted Danish keeper Kasper Schmeichel. I don't know, Schmeichel, I guess, yeah. In the lead up to Harry Kane's match winner. The Leicester City shot stopper saved Kane's initial effort from the penalty shot after a foul was controversially called for a soft challenge on Raheem Sterling inside the box. The Spurs man then reacted quickest to prod the ball home from close range, scoring the match winner in a 2-1 victory for the hosts. England and the FA have landed in hot water after the offending fan attempted to influence proceedings with a laser pointer, which comes amid an array of charges levied against the team's supporters inside Wembley, including disturbance caused by its supporters during national anthem and lighting of fireworks by its supporters. Um, In addition to the laser pointer incident, some English fans were noted on the television broadcast of the game appearing to boo and jeer the Danish national anthem. Oh. While others were seen lighting fireworks at various points during the game. The case will be dealt with by the UEFA Control Ethics and Disciplinary Body in due course. European Football Governing Body announced in a statement. English fans have jeered opposing teams' national anthems throughout the tournament, but had so far escaped any official sanction from UEFA. Booing a national anthem is super low, guys. Super low. It's disgusting. If this turns out to be true, um, disgusting. Um, It now seems that the high profile nature of Wednesday's infractions are the straw that broke the camel's back as far as the tournament organizers are concerned. There's no indication yet of the punishment UEFA could prescribe to should their probe find the FA culpable for their fans' transgressions. England's win on Wednesday took them from their first major final since the 1966 World Cup, a game which also took place at Wembley. They will face Roberto Mancini's Italy on Sunday for the chance to be the European champions for the first time in their history. Who are you voting for? I'm going for Italy. I think they're gonna do pretty good. Um, okay, here's another sports story. Um, and it's gonna be the last story for today. Gonna end it on a good note. Um, for if you're a Tampa Bay fan, I'm Montreal, so it's kind of bittersweet, but hey, it's good for them. good game. Uh, it was a good season, good playoff. Um, so topless NHL star swigs beer during epic press call rant as he hails fellow Russian who grabbed MVP after Stanley Cup glory. Okay, so Russian winger Nikita Kucherov um, took aim at rival hockey fans in an epic rant after helping his team win the Stanley Cup, lauding goaltender Andrei Vasilevsky, who made a phone call to his parents in Russia on the ice afterwards. Tampa Bay Lightning beat Montreal Canadiens 1-0 to win the series 4-1. And celebrating Kucherov was on confrontational form as he stripped off and chugged from a can in his post-game press duties, which he began by clapping and offering two fingers from either hand to the cameras. Russia international Kucherov was clearly not enamored with the Canadiens fans, taunting them after they won the previous game 3-2 in a result that he clearly still resented. I didn't want to go back to Montreal, the former CSKA Moscow star admitted. The fans in Montreal, come on. They acted like they won the Stanley Cup last game. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Their final was last series. I couldn't sleep for 3 nights and not be able to win this game. And able to win this game is huge. I like my Russian acting there. Kucherov was considerably more impressed with Andrei Vasilevsky, who beat him to the Conn Smythe Trophy after stopping 135 of 141 shots in the series and breaking a league record by keeping 5 consecutive shutouts. His compete level is as high as it can be, gushed Kucherov, calling his countrymen's perceived lack of recognition number one bullshit. I remember him when he was 16. He was always the guy who cared about game and wants to be better and wants to be number one. And as we can see, he is. Vasi was outstanding. I was telling him every day, Vasi, you're MVP, your best player. He's best. He keep us in game. Remarkable. I can't even tell more. Vasilevsky appeared to be caught by surprise when he was told that he had won an accolade on the ice. It's not about me, he insisted, calling his parents while he was on the ice. It's about team. The whole team deserves it for sure. It's probably like 4 or 5 a.m. in Russia right now. And my family were watching me in the morning. So that's amazing to just share this moment with them. Unfortunately, they couldn't get here for this game because it's a little complicated, but I felt their support, and that's just amazing. He's a very humble guy, said Kucherov. He doesn't want people near him to say he's the best. He wants to prove he's best, but I know he's best, you know? He wants to prove me, but I'm like, Vasi, you proved me right a fucking long time ago. When I was 15, you proved it to me. Even though he's getting robbed every year by NHL, not getting the Vezina, he's still humble. He still work hard. If he would play a different market, he would take this Vezina year after year. He was beat all the records, whatever, blah blah blah, is the best. Vasilevsky was facing a great Canadian keeper, Carey Price. I can't believe how he shuts the door on biggest games of his career. Um, he's the big cat, and when he locks in, he is remarkable to watch. You look at the guy, and he's going against Price. Let's be honest, the best goalie in my era. We just played against. And the best goalie now is the next era is the goalie that just won a Stanley Cup. So I think hockey fans were privileged to watch two generational goalies play tonight. And a torch has been passed. Okay, and that's today's show. Hope you liked it. Have a good night, good day wherever you are, and see you next time. Bye.
No more pain, no more worries. Got no more time for loving you. No, they're coming to get me tomorrow. Got no more time for loving you. Oh, they're coming to get me tomorrow. Got no more time for loving you. No more pain, no more worries. I got no more time for loving you. No way. If you ain't tired of me yet, baby, have you still got time for loving me? I wanna know if you ain't tired of me yet, baby, have you still got time for loving me? Oh, all this pain, all in me.